student-led workshop for Management in Education course. Our topic is From Diagnosis to Action, turning school data into a strategic improvement plan, presented by me, Asılbekova Ayolum, and my teammate, Schneider Elisabetta. Imagine at a small high school in Almaty, the principal looks at a pile of reports. The numbers are concerning. Kids in the city are reading well, and their result is 98%. But kids from rural schools are struggling with only 92% of achieving the same task. Some students sign up for first grade because the government helps families, but teachers miss math and science lessons for 15% of the time. Additionally, math test scores are 50% below the country's average. These aren't just numbers, they are a call for a change. Kazakhstan has over 3.5 million children in the school, from busy cities to open plains. Nearly 100% of adults, to be specific, 99.8%, can read in our country. There is a big achievement, especially compared to past. But now the challenge is to make sure every child gets a fair opportunity to succeed in an education, no matter where they live. There are problems, the most problem is we had over 4,000 teachers missing in 2023. The internet is not available everywhere, especially in rural areas. In 2018, math scores on international tests dropped by 37 points. Kazakhstan wants to be one of the top 30 smartest countries by 2050. But to get there, school leaders need to stop just managing schools and start using data like smart leaders do. This speech explains how to use data to make changes. We will look at how Kazakhstan's unique history and modern challenges shape education, like old traditions, outdated data systems from Soviet times, and tests like external assessment of academic achievement, EAAA. By the end, you will understand how to create a plan called Strategic Improvement Plan that will lead to real change. It will help every student from big cities like Astana to rural areas near the Aral Sea do their best and succeed in education. Now let's switch to our main part, building the plan from diagnosis to strategy. We all know the saying, what gets measured gets managed. In education, diagnosis is the first step, collecting data from national tests like Unified National Test, UNT, and international tests like PISA, and local data about things like school attendance, dropout rates, and school facilities. In Kazakhstan, this data helps us understand both progress and challenges. PISA scores have gone up and down over the years. For example, reading scores dropped to 387 in 2018, but slightly improved since then. Math and science scores have been around 423 to 470 in recent cycles. Building a plan involves several important steps. For instance, SWOT analysis. This means looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. For example, in Kazakhstan, we have a high secondary school enrollment rate, almost 100, but students often report low engagement with the curriculum. Opportunities include government initiatives like Digital Kazakhstan, but threats include issues like socioeconomic differences between city and rural students. Once we have the data, and we can get SMART goals, which means S specific, M measurable, A achievable, R realistic, and T timely. For instance, a goal might be increase math proficiency by 15% in rural schools over the next 2 years through focused teacher training. Now I want to give my word to Elisabetta to continue our topic.
It's also important to get everyone involved. Teachers, parents, local governments, and ministries need to work together. Kazakhstan's National Council for the Development of a Social and Labor Sector, or we call it NCDSLS, is an example of how different groups can come together to tackle education challenges. The plan should also align with national policies, as you can see on the slides. The Strategic Development Plan for 2025 focuses on improving human capital, and the State Program for 2020-2025 focuses on lifelong learning and bridging gaps between urban and rural schools. And now the key development is a national framework for AI education, which includes setting standards for ethical use, protecting data, and improving academic integrity. The last that we want to mention, it is resource allocation, that is also very crucial. The government has increased funding for education, which will help improving AI literacy in schools' infrastructure. The timeline for the plan is broken into phases: diagnosis in the first months, planning in the next 2 months, and setting key performance indicators, or we call them KPIs, like for example 10% improvement in math scores or biology scores, whatever, within a year. Implementing the plan, now let's talk about action, the exciting phase where plans turn into a real change in schools. Implementing the plan requires flexibility. We need to monitor progress with tools like Yandex platform, which allows real-time data tracking, and adjust a plan when things don't go as expected. That also could happen. Kazakhstan's education system uses framework from the OECD to evaluate and ensure quality at all levels. A good example of this is the school renovation program. In 2025, Kazakhstan plans to renovate 245 schools affecting 1,900 students. This program, which is part of President Tokayev's initiatives, includes building new classrooms and schools, especially in rural areas, and reduce waiting lists for kindergarten and improve the overall school environment. So the more schools we have, the more teachers and students can work and study there. Another example is project-based learning, or PBL, which has been used in schools like the KTEF network. At Nurda International School, for example, students work on real-world projects like studying home energy and proposing conservation solutions. This type of learning helps students develop important skills like collaboration and critical thinking, which helps them in a real world to get a better job and career. Starlink Internet is a service that's making a big impact in Kazakhstan. By 2024, it will connect over 1,700 schools, especially those in rural areas, which will help bridge the gap between urban and rural students. With access to the internet, students will be able to use data-driven tools and take online courses to improve their education and to improve our society as well. Kazakhstan is also making strategies with the first AI school launched in 2024 that is called Tomorrow School. The school uses a peer-to-peer model where students work together to solve problems. The school focuses on AI engineering and cybersecurity, and students from all over the world collaborate on over 50 projects. The school has already won competition and received venture funding, providing that innovation is driving progress in education. There are also language and inclusive programs. The Tilge Boylao program, which helps students learn Kazakh, has been scaled up nationwide. Anti-bullying programs like Kiva and Dozbo-like are being implemented to improve school environment. Parent committees are also being trained to help engage with students and support their children's education, because as we mentioned before, it's very important to participate all of us, students, parents, and teachers. Vocational reforms are also underway. Kazakhstan has expanded its dual training program with more than 4,000 businesses, and free college programs are available for technical fields. This helps match the skills of graduate with the needs of a job market. For example, even in our university, there are some programs with dual diploma, reducing the number of overqualified workers and helping to get the career. These examples show that action depends on monitoring progresses and adapting the challenges. It also requires ethics and using new technologies like AI to make sure no one is left behind. From diagnosis to strategy to action, Kazakhstan's education reforms are a sign of hope for the future. The country is committed to improvement the education system for all students, no matter where they live. By using data to guide decisions, Kazakhstan can ensure that every child, whether in a city or a rural village, gets a chance to succeed. The road ahead may have challenges, but with the right strategy, Kazakhstan can build education system that is better for all the students. Here is it. You can take a look at all the references that we have used, all the information. And let's commit to this journey for the sake of our children's future. Thank you.